Well, hello, everyone. It's Brenni Larson, and I'm your host of the Refresh Your Being Mind, Body, and Spirit Summit. Now, the name from this came because I was trying to figure out, how can I get across to people how you feel like when you jump in a lake and you come out super refreshed. That's what this summit's about, is all these specialists are going to give you so much information on ways that you can refresh your being, your mind, your body, and your spirit. So I want you to know I'm on a mission to interview these specialists in all holistic and spiritual modalities so that you, the listeners, can find the speakers that you hear, that you resonate with. And then you follow them deeper. And just by applying the techniques they're going to give you on these interviews, and especially in the special offers when you follow them deeper, this is how you're going to raise your vibration. And guess what? That's how we raise the vibration of the planet together. So just remember, always have fun and do what makes you feel good. So I am here right now, and I am excited to interview someone I have followed for a long time. His name is Dr. Steve G. Jones. Let me just give you a little bit of background in case you don't know about him. Well, just imagine living a life you deserve to live, a life in which you have unlimited wealth, focus, and confidence. You see endless, exciting possibilities, and you feel so good about it. Well, Dr. Steve has devoted his life to making sure you achieve this goal easily. He has focused his genius on developing thousands of self-help products to launch you powerfully in the direction of your ultimate success. He has helped so many people with many conditions, whether, it's weight loss or anxiety or smoking, nail biting. He helps people with road rage and anger management. And don't forget business settings. He is regularly called upon by sales teams to boost salespeople motivation. So I could go on and on. There's a whole lot of stuff he's done in the past, but I want to jump right into this interview because it's packed with information. Hey, Dr. Steve, how you doing today?
Hey, great, Brenni. How are you?
Super fantastic. Thanks a lot. I know you're really busy, so thank you for sharing your time and energy with the community with this fabulous information.
Oh, my pleasure.
So would you mind giving us a little bit of background? Like, how did you end up getting into hypnosis? I'm sure it's not something you wrote when you were a kid on your goal book of what you wanted to be when you grew up.
It kind of was. I got a book when I was in high school called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by Leslie Lecron, a PhD psychologist, and I started reading it and hypnotizing my roommates. I was in military school. I was stuck there. A lot of parents threaten to send their kids to military or boarding school. Mine actually followed through and sent me there. So there I was in Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Georgia, stuck, and I got a book on hypnosis. So I started hypnotizing my roommates, and it wasn't long before I realized I could use my powers for good. The smaller kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently, and the athletes came to me wanting to exercise more efficiently. And all these years later, it's the same thing I was doing back as a kid in high school in the early 80s, except now the smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers.
That's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about, because I'm always hearing about, like, anger or nail biting or losing weight. Wasn't even thinking about how to get better grades or be a better athlete. So it is really quite endless on how hypnosis works and the unblocking it can do for people, correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's, the mind is an interesting place, and it's a big place. And anything in which the mind is involved is a good candidate for hypnotic change, which really leaves it wide open.
So can you explain a little bit how does hypnosis actually work?
Well, it works by relaxing someone into at least a state called alpha, which is a very slowed down state where they're more receptive to positive messages. And then the hypnotherapist can just put positive programming in their mind while they're in that state.
So is this something you would have to do live? Is it simply recordings? What's the best way to get the benefit of this?
Well, you can do it live. You can do it by recordings. You can do it over the phone. There are a lot of ways. I think the best way would depend on the individual. A live session can can be expensive. Depending on where the hypnotherapist is, you have to go there. You have to take time off work, perhaps, and, pay for their time one-on-one. Whereas a recording, you can just download it and put it on. These days, you can just play it on your phone. So it really depends on what you want and what works best for you. For some people, a live session's better because they get to see the hypnotherapist and talk to them and get to know them. For some people, they don't want that. They've got some challenge. They'd rather not have anyone know. If they can avoid that, they just want to overcome the challenge. And then using a recording anonymously can be the best way for them. So it depends on the individual and the situation.
Is it okay to fall asleep while you're listening to recordings?
Yeah, falling asleep is fine. There's some research that was done. I believe it was Professor Hilgard up at UC Davis in California looked into that. The eyes close, but the ears don't. They stay open as sort of a surveillance system of your environment. So, for example, if a mother hears a baby cry during the night, she'll immediately be alerted to what's going on. She will, quote unquote, wake up, but really a part of her was never asleep, and that part is her hearing. If we hear something while we're sleeping, we are alerted by our hearing because our ears are open all the time. Because this happens, we can also take in and record information while we sleep. So it doesn't really matter if you fall asleep or not while listening to a hypnosis recording.
Yeah, because how I was thinking of it in feng shui, I'm always explaining to people we don't like electronics in your bedroom, but especially don't be falling asleep to a TV because it's programming you in a different way, and you don't even know what it is. At least in your programs, we know what it's supposed to be doing, right?
Right, exactly. And TV is done that way on purpose. There are a lot of interesting techniques they use, especially around sleepy time. After you've watched the late night show and then the commercials come on, they're done in a certain way to program you. Of course, that's done all throughout the day, but there's specific techniques used late at night when they know you're probably actually unconscious. And so anytime you're watching TV, you're subject to the advertisers using you at will. So I would avoid TV as much as possible, or at least the commercials.
Hey, I know they used to do that when I was a kid, because I remember all of a sudden everybody would run and go buy popcorn, and then we found out about the subliminal flashes of messages.
Yeah,
when 60s.
Yeah. A while back they used to do that. They'd flash the word Coke, as in Coca-Cola, on the screen, just fast enough so that your subconscious mind could catch it, but consciously you wouldn't quite know what you saw. And it was parodied in the movie Fight Club. It was some unrelated items just for people's comedic entertainment. But the flashing of subliminal messages is something that used to be used. It's not anymore, but now they have the popcorn popping right in front of you on the screen. In some movie theaters, you're on a roller coaster and there's a Coke, to your right, and popcorn popping, and it's very suggestive. It's designed, of course, yes, to get you to give them more money.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't do subliminal messages up there like, you're awesome, you're super wealthy, you're a loving, kind person. Instead, they're like, go eat popcorn and drink Coke.
Yeah, exactly. Well, movie theater, they've got you captive, so they're going to squeeze as much extra money out of you as possible, and unfortunately, part of their plan is not enhancing your life.
I got to admit that one, too. So let's talk a little bit about hypnosis and how, it helps the mind-body connection. We've been talking a little bit about the mind. I absolutely love it because it is really a neat little machine. We've got computer going on in there. So let's talk about the mind-body connection.
Okay. Well, I believe that the mind and body are highly connected. We see examples of that regularly, and science has been aware of it for a while. I've seen videos of hypnotic experiments back as early as the 1950s where people were taught how to reduce the amount of blood that would come out of their arm when they were pricked by a pin, for example. And that's important. You might think, well, that's kind of a neat stage trick, but how is that important? Well, it's important with programming people to bleed less during surgery. You can actually program someone for that. So there are a lot of interesting things that happen when you look into the mind-body connection. But we also see a lot of people developing situations that are caused by their mind, nervous situations, nervous disorders that translate into something physical, neurological disorders. I remember talking to a medical doctor over at Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills about a year ago. He said he had a patient who had all these symptoms of multiple sclerosis, except that they were all being caused by her mind. There was no physical indication of it. They can easily scan for that with an MRI to see if someone has MS, because it'll show up on the MRI on the brain. So that didn't show up. So he had to work with her to release whatever she was feeling that was causing all of these symptoms that were mimicking MS, and he was able to do that. So doctors are very aware of the mind-body connection, especially neurologists and psychologists, and it is prevalent, so it's very important to keep your thoughts in alignment with how you want your body to be.
Hypnosis in a way reminds me of feng shui. One thing I love about feng shui is your space reflects your life. So all you have to do is look around and see up to this point what energy you've surrounded yourself with. The great thing is you can switch energy at any time. Hypnosis to me is in a way like this also. What's been put in your mind, may have been put there lovingly by your parents or grandparents, but they may have been through challenges. So I think it's always important to, you can tell where you're at in hypnosis, and that you can just kind of like feng shui do the same thing where we can clean that energy out of what has you stuck. Is that kind of, I'm just trying to compare because I have a lot of feng shui people on the phone now. Would you say that's kind of a fair comparison?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big proponent of feng shui. I love it. I always, any house I have, I always make sure it's perfectly feng shuied with the same reputation area, the wealth section, the relationship section, and so forth. So, I get the boggle off first thing, and I'm on it. So I believe that feng shui and having the qi flowing properly in any location is a big psychological advantage, which then translates into something that you do feel physiologically and you do benefit from.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I'm sure you have many stories too, but when we actually go and look at people's homes, some of the things they surround themselves with, and you'll see them react like they're like, oh, my ex-husband gave me that picture, I hate it. And it's like, why do you have it? Take it down. Every time you look at it, you get mad.
Right. Yeah,
so
it's amazing. Well, you got to surround yourself with positive energy.
Well, yeah, it is amazing, and I got to just say real quick, one of the things that, comparing other consultants that we see the most in feng shui is people that want love and relationships and partnerships, and almost all of them in their bedroom will have like a sad, lonely, single lady like looking over her shoulder. We started comparing one time and find it amazing on how sometimes when you're in your space all the time, you don't realize what's staring right at you. And I kind of think hypnosis is like that, too, that your brain is always stuck on this one plane of thinking that maybe you don't even until somebody introduces hypnosis, and it's simple. It's not a complicated technique, that they can actually change the mind-body connection, meaning even if they have a physical problem, you can change the mind and help them. Correct, Dr. Steve?
Yes, absolutely. Now, anytime there's a physical component to it, we always urge them to get the consent of a medical doctor before continuing on with any hypnotic treatment. But, yes, a lot of times medical doctors will refer patients to hypnotherapists because medical doctors reach the end of the road. I mean, they tried everything, and it's just not working. So the mind-body connection is something that hypnosis does very well with. Whereas if you have some kind of bacterial ailment, Western medicine is very good. But every healing modality, I think, has its strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, that's why I like bringing them all together so you can learn all of them and pick what works for you at that time.
Yes.
So what kind of advice do you have for people that want to try hypnosis to improve their lives? What advice would you give them?
I'd say go for it. Find a hypnotherapist.
Go for it, people. There you go.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, hypnosis is kind of like eating vegetables. It'd be really hard to overdose on it. It's only going to do you good. It's not going to harm you. I'd say go for it. Find a local hypnotherapist, find some hypnosis recordings, get a book on hypnosis, jump in and see if it's for you.
So can anyone be hypnotized? Because you always see those TV shows, and some people are like, nope, you can't hypnotize me, absolutely not, and then you'll just see them barking like a dog.
Yeah, someone's conscious assessment of whether or not they are hypnotically suggestible has absolutely no bearing on whether or not they are. And so we do see that. We see ego-driven statements such as, my mind is too powerful to be hypnotized. People normally think that. They normally think that to be hypnotizable is to be mentally weak or less intelligent, whereas that's actually not true. If anything, the evidence indicates that more intelligence leads to people being more easily hypnotized. The only studies we have tend to indicate that. But Harvard and Stanford got together a number of years back and created a scale because it's better when you can quantify things. So they have a numeric scale of hypnotic susceptibility, as they call it. I like to use the word suggestibility. But they've found that everyone is suggestible to a certain degree, and it's kind of like electrical conductivity. Every substance on planet Earth is conductive. It will conduct electricity. Some substances do it really well, like metal, and some not so well, like wood, but they still do conduct electricity. And so it's kind of like that with hypnotic suggestibility. Some people are very suggestible and take to it very easily. Some people need more exposure to it in order to get the change that they want.
When you're talking about hypnosis, what I keep feeling in my body is, A, glad to know you can't overdose on it, but B, it's actually healthy for you in two ways. Not only are you working maybe on one specific issue, but just by getting them into a relaxed state, isn't that helping them physically and mentally too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people listening to my hypnosis recordings, for example, no matter what recording it is, will say, that was the best sleep I ever had in my life. So they'll sleep really well because mine are designed for nighttime use. So, yeah, that is definitely a component of it, this sleeping more easily, stress relief, just, taking a moment during the recording to just calm down. Sometimes people don't give themselves the opportunity to just detach and calm down.
I find that's very true that even just taking the time, sometimes close your eyes and breathe, take 3 deep breaths. People don't even do that. They're so busy running around. So what I'm hearing, the great thing about especially what you do, your specialty, is you like to help people like when they're falling asleep at night because, A, they do get a super good night's sleep. I can attest to this. I sleep really good anyway, but I've used a lot of your products in the past. And so they get this super good night's sleep, and it's super healthy for them. But, how long do they have to do this? You said they can't overdose. Does it depend on, A, how in-depth the issue is? Let's take nervousness and anxiety. Just because there's a ton of people out there that get stressed about money, and that's going to be anxiety and nervousness and all of that. So how often would I have to listen to the hypnosis, or what would the game plan be that you would kind of set me up for success?
Well, if someone's just getting a recording, any recording, I would listen to it for 21 nights in a row. That's the way I would tackle it. So anything across the board, smoking, weight loss, nail biting, bedwetting, fear of flying, whatever they're working on, 21 nights with a recording every night just to make sure, kind of like antibiotics. You just want to finish them out just to make sure, you may not need all of that exposure to it, but if you cut yourself short and you did need it, then, you'll wish you had done it all because, you'll want to get rid of whatever it is that you're attempting to get rid of.
So, you just mentioned bedwetting. Obviously, I'm thinking it's for children, but do they need to wear earplugs? What if they're little kids? Is it just something you play in a recorder next to them, or how would that work?
It really doesn't matter. Whatever the in that case, if you're talking about using it for a child, which is the most common use of the bedwetting recording, you're right, then the parent can just play it for the child to hear during the night with speakers or with headphones. Earbuds are great. You're dealing with a child in this particular scenario that we're talking about, so you want to do something that they're not going to rebel against. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you want them to do it, right? You want them to enjoy it and to do it. I'll tell you the reason I'm asking is I've heard different ways. I've heard like, no, you absolutely cannot fall asleep. Yeah, it's okay to fall asleep. Yes, it's best when you fall asleep. You have to use earbuds. You don't have to use earbuds. That's why I'm asking some of these questions, because so far you're answering everything the way I like it. I can't do it too much. I can listen to it while I'm sleeping. I mean, so far you're fitting everything I really would work for me in my busy schedule.
There you go.
Yeah, see, we're busy. So, how can, I'm a real spiritual and holistic person. How can hypnosis help in spirituality?
Well, I've developed an entire line of metaphysical recordings. I think that hypnosis helps quite a bit with that, just getting you in tune with whatever you're working on, past life regression, seeing auras, developing your psychic powers, accessing the Akashic records, working with your chakras and aligning them. I think there are numerous applications. One of the challenges that we see, like, for example, when we were developing our astral projection program, a huge program that's about 17 hours, one of the challenges that people were coming up against when they were attempting to astral project was that they were not believing it. They were having doubts, and so they're going back into their bodies. So we had to incorporate a lot of different techniques for them to, focus on the ability that they have naturally. It's just something that everyone's born with, the ability to astral project. So we had to work on just the confidence to believe that, yes, this is something real. This is something that you can do. It's not something extraordinary. It's part of your natural being. So that's the main challenge that I find that hypnosis helps people overcome, just having the confidence to do whatever they're doing.
Well, I love that you've done so many different topics, because I believe that people can access all these things. They can do Akashic records, they can see auras, they can do past life. It's how much energy and time. And one of the big things always is the confidence. So to knock that out right in there, too, is important. Now, let's say I wanted to do past life, and I wanted to see auras, and I wanted to be able to see my Akashic records. Would I do one of these for 21 days and then do the next one for 21? Can you do two at a time? What's your suggestion there?
Anytime you're working with something with three topics that are related, such as the ones that you mentioned, you can do a cycle of 3 days. So topic A on the first day, B on the second day, C on the third day, and then just rinse and repeat. On the fourth day, go back to the first one. So you keep listening to them in a series of 3 for 21 nights. That way you cut down on the time that it takes, and they're so closely related that they're going to be helping each other, because it's kind of like weight loss and saving money. If you start losing weight, then you're going to be more confident in saving money. If you start saving money or making more money, you become more confident in losing weight because you start to see measurable progress. Losing weight and saving money are both measurable in pounds and in dollars. So it's kind of like that with the psychic abilities. Once you start seeing auras, you realize, hey, this stuff is real. And so astral projection and psychic abilities and so forth, that becomes more easy because your mind is now open to it.
Yeah, I love this because you get paid for something that is, everybody has natural abilities and all of these, but the world has shut us down. Like, I was a big daydreamer as a child. Shut me down, can't daydream, not supposed to do that. I'd stare at plants and I'd say, oh, what is that? It would be their aura, their energy you could see around it. Nope, you can't see that. You're wrong. So what I find interesting is what you do and what I do and many other holistic people is our mission and our passion is to refresh you, to reopen up the things you already know and were shut down or actually you were programmed since you were a little child. Is that kind of how you see it too?
Yeah, absolutely. We had these abilities, and then the real world told us they're either not essential or they're not real, and then we just or they're bad. Sometimes people are told that. So yeah, they got shut down, and we are just reawakening them. And yes, I do get paid to just reintroduce people to themselves, to their own abilities that they already have.
How awesome is that? That your job is reintroducing people to themselves, which to me is how you raise the vibration of the planet, because when people are who they're supposed to be, they're working on their gifts and why they're here, and when everybody's doing their gifts, the planet's a really nice place. So thank you, Dr. Steve, for what you do. I appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure.
So, are you ready to talk a little bit about a few of the things that you've put together, the thank you gift and the special offer, or do you have a minute and you'd like to tell us a couple stories, give us a case study or something? Maybe there are people who have never used hypnosis. Do you got a case study or something fun you'd like to share with them?
Oh, yeah. I've written one of my 25 books is on case studies, so I've got a bunch of them. Luckily, every day is a new case study, something else we learn about someone else who's been helped. One that really sticks out in my mind is a lady named Jen. She's given me permission to talk about her. This was a number of years ago, but she came to me and she was, this is in the realm of weight loss. She was actually suicidal. She came in with her mom. Her mom brought her in. This is their last-ditch effort. A lot of times people turn to hypnosis as their last-ditch effort. And so her mom, Jen was in her early 20s. Her mom sat with her during the hypnosis sessions, and I worked with her on weight loss, and we just worked together for about 5 weeks. Week 1, confidence. Week 2, changing her eating habits. Week 3, exercising. Programming her for these things. And I never expect any kind of weight loss, substantial weight loss during the 5 weeks that I worked with someone in person, because that's just too short a time. She was about 180 pounds over her ideal weight. So, the chart the government makes, there's an ideal weight. She was 180 pounds over that. So she had a lot of extra weight. She was actually a candidate for gastric bypass surgery, but her parents, didn't want to go down that route, and she was suicidal anyway. So I worked with her. I didn't hear from her for probably a year or two. Finally got a handwritten letter from her telling me that I was just happy to hear she was alive. She was not only alive, but she was thriving. She had married the man of her dreams, which in her opinion, in her ideal man opinion, was I think he was a 6'1" architect, and they had I think 1 kid and 1 on the way. She was living in this beautiful house. So she was able to turn everything around. So that, to me, is a testimonial, not to me, but to the power of hypnosis and to human resilience. She saw one last chance, and she took it, and she ran with it, and she improved herself. So that always sticks out in my heart. That's near and dear to me, the story of Jen and how she was able to turn everything around.
And a handwritten note, that means a lot nowadays, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the last handwritten note I ever got. I think that was the last one in existence. People just don't write handwritten notes anymore. But she felt so strongly that nothing else would do. Just she had to write it by hand. So yeah, that was.
I love handwritten, and I think it's so powerful because it's coming from your heart and something. It's like a contractor writing to me. I mean, that's how I see it whenever you write. Couple things in the story I love is, she took action. If you've ever listened to me, we know you need to take action. Do something. Move one thing. Clean one thing. Listen to one hypnosis tape for 21 days. So I like the action. But the other point that really stuck out for me was that you worked on these other things, and that's how she lost the weight. You weren't like all of a sudden everybody else is going to tell her, you need to eat this, don't have sugar, don't have carbs, you never get a can of pop in your life again, now go be happy and lose all your weight. Oh, yeah, don't forget to exercise, even though you're 200 pounds overweight. So I love that you actually work through aspects of the brain like the confidence and that type of thing, which then leads to the physical change. So you worked on the mind, and the outcome was the physical. And it sounds like she went really from rock bottom to floating on a cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. And that holistic approach I always encourage. That's just, rather than hitting it bluntly over the head, come at it from a number of different angles that are really going to contribute to a long-lasting holistic change.
So, yes, I did know that you have written 25 books and has over 9,000 hypnosis audio recordings, people, just so you're aware. He knows his stuff. I would love for you to tell a story because I get lots of emails on people that are very stressed out about money. How do you help people? Where do you begin with that? Because that is a self-esteem thing, too. People are embarrassed when they have clutter, and they're embarrassed when they're broke. So how would you approach somebody stressed about money versus somebody stressed about weight loss?
And Joe Vitale and I do a lot of programs together, and we've got a new one coming out soon, on wealth and building wealth, not just surviving but actually thriving, because as you may know, Joe Vitale, star of The Secret, was homeless at one point, and now he's a multimillionaire. So Joe and I have had similar journeys, and so we like to help people with that. But the thing that I always teach when I'm working with someone on that is you've really got to believe that what you're putting out there every day, how you're talking about your possibilities, how you're interacting with the world, law of attraction type information, the way you put that out there is really important. And you may think, well, if I say that I'm poor every day, I'm just telling the truth. It's just the fact. I'm just reporting the facts. But really what you're doing is you're perpetuating it. You're causing it to continue on. And people may think, well, how would I be doing that? I'm just saying it. Well, people hear that. You hear that. Most importantly, you hear that. You hear it over and over and over. The subconscious mind will look for ways to make into reality what it hears. So if it hears that it's poor, it's going to find a way to continue that. If it hears that it's wealthy, well, it may not be, but it's going to find a way to make that true. It's going to start looking for opportunities in the world to take advantage of opportunities that are coming along for opening a door that may lead to another door that may lead to a great job, or may lead to a career change, or some kind of radical movement across the country or across the world that's going to eventually enhance the person's life. Your mind becomes open to possibilities that it was closed to before. And when it's open to those new possibilities, they lead to a bigger, better, more exciting life with more contacts. A lot of it is about that, having the confidence to get out there and meet the people who are going to help you. And your life just becomes enhanced, and you do become more wealthy.
Yeah, I always think of your brain as like a computer hard drive. So you've got these programs etched in there. And so I see what you do is like reformatting that hard drive and getting rid of those stories or paradigms that have been put in your head. And one of the stories I always remember, Dr. Steve, about programming in your mind was that a lady always cut the ends of her ham off, and her kids are like, why do you do that? And she's like, well, my mother did it. And they ask Grandma, why do you do it? Well, my mom did it. And apparently the great-grandma was still alive, and they're like, well, why did you do it? She goes, because it wouldn't fit in the pan. So it's like you never know what programming's in your brain or why it's there. And what you do is so simple. I mean, is it really as simple as them playing this CD, which sounds like music, but you have subliminal messages in the back that are reprogramming or reformatting that hard drive? Is it really that simple?
I do have a line of subliminal recordings, which is just that, where it has you just hear music and you hear subliminal record. My voice is masked by the music. That's my subliminal line. The more popular line these days would be one of my hypnosis lines, such as the platinum recordings, where you clearly hear my voice the entire time. People tend to prefer that, where they can hear what's going on. But the idea, the intention in either case is, yes, to use a technology that we know works and to help to change the person's minds.
I love you work with Mr. Fire. I've followed him for a long time and read Zero Limits and Ho'oponopono. So that's awesome. You're in super excellent energy company there. And, yeah, it seems like many of us have the same stories of being homeless and then coming out of it. So we're success stories, and that's why we like to help other people, because we know it's possible, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, Joe's, not to plug it, but Joe's book is available right now in Barnes & Noble, Zero Limits. And I wrote one of the testimonials at the beginning of it. And Joe has got some tremendous technology. I've been a big fan of his for years. I'm so honored to be working with him these days. And we're all doing the same thing, though. You know, John Asseroff, Jack Canfield, Joe, you know, anyone you meet who's involved in this, you yourself, all we're really attempting to do is to get people to believe in themselves and to push past themselves, the obstacles they've created in their minds, so they can live the life that they want to live.
You know, and it's funny you bring that up because I remember distinctly listening to him when I was doing a real estate open house, and I did not want to be in real estate anymore, and I was trying to figure out, you know, I wasn't confident. I had moved from Dallas, Texas to a small little town. I was doing real estate, and it was a tough time to be doing real estate, and I sat and listened to Joe Vitale, and I decided to change my life, and that's when I said I can do whatever I want, and I started doing summits, feng shui summits. I mean, it was him. It was listening to his recordings. I remember the day in the house I was sitting in. So when you brought him up, it just brought really warm, fuzzy feelings in my heart because I have not personally met him, but he has completely changed my life, and I've used your recordings, which have changed my life. And so I love synchronicities and the full circle thing on how people pop into your life, you know, that have had a good influence on you. So that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there are always those people. Jim Rohn for me was always another great one. Yeah, just everything he said just made sense. And when he said something, I just accepted it. And a lot of the things have still stuck with me. Just simple things like he would say, you know, when you're at a hotel room, turn the light out when you leave. You know, save a little bit of electricity. That has nothing to do with me getting wealthy at all, but it has to do with my contribution to the world, which actually does have to do with enhancing my life because I'm enhancing the lives of all of us.
Well, I love that you said that because that's what it's all about, is finding the person you hear. Like, you may have heard what Jim said before from someone else, but you just didn't resonate with them for some reason. You weren't meant to follow that person. And that's what this is all about. So everybody on this call that doesn't know about Dr. Steve, which I'm shocked, but I know there's people out there don't, if you like what you hear, that's what we do these interviews for. So it's really simple to follow him. All you're going to do is there's a picture right on his speaker page, and that speaker page is refreshyourbeing.com/Dr. Steve. And that's just all one word. And you'll see a link. It says thank you gift. And it's really awesome what he has here for you. For a thank you gift, it's called Program Your Inner Millionaire. And all you have to do is put your email address in there, and you will have access immediately to that MP3. Do you want to talk a little bit about these platinum recordings that you have picked out, you and your assistant, for this particular summit that's going to do exactly what we want to do. We want people to be free and joyous and have fun. So do you want me to go through them and then you can comment on them, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's fine. Before we do that, I'll just say that these recordings took me about probably a little over a year to do and cost me about $120,000 because I had to build a recording studio from the ground up. I had to hire 2 college graduate sound engineers. We used Pro Tools, which they use in the movies. The recording software, we used a handmade microphone, Rhodes microphone from Australia. We did everything the right way. So these recordings have a lot in them. Aside from all of that, they have a lot of technology in them, thanks to my sound engineers. So a lot of, binaural tones. We've got future pacing in them. We've got a lot of neurolinguistic programming techniques and a lot of audio techniques, all of which are designed to help you get the change that you want. So, yeah, I'm ready to go down the list. Just call them out, and I'll be glad to talk about them.
Well, yay for that, for being passionate about what you do and doing quality workmanship. So thank you for that. That lets you know he really believes in what he's talking about. This wasn't just like, I think I'll do an MP3 recording. He invested energy and time and research to make sure you get the best. So let's go through these. The first platinum recording is relaxation, which everybody, 99% of the people can use in their life, at least in this Western society. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, it's just designed to slow you down, to get you focused on, smelling the roses and noticing the sky and hearing the birds and things like that. It's not as if it's going to make you mushy and make you not want to participate in life and not be a go-getter. It's going to allow you to have the calmness that you need, sort of like a Zen master, the calmness that you need to really get things done in a highly efficient way.
I think that's important because just last week I was out at our cabin and I took some friends fishing, and the little boy was about 7, and he comes around the corner and he's like, "What in the world are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just sitting here with my eyes closed, listening to the birds chirp and the wind go through the leaves. I love it." And he stopped and he closed his eyes and he goes, "I don't think I've ever heard that before." He hadn't slowed down. Kids are busy, just like this would be perfect for a mother, wouldn't it? Like a working mother, she could listen to this at night before she goes to sleep and wake up maybe a little calmer and have a better relationship with her kids, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of mothers play my recordings for their kids. They just kind of put it in the hallway. If they've got a few kids, a few different rooms, they just put it in the hallway and crank it up and let them go to sleep to it.
Oh, that's
and plus
brilliant.
the mother hears it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody calms down in the family.
Absolutely.
I could tell you where to put that in the family sector of the energy map.
There you go.
We can work together, no problem. Okay, so stress relief. Oh, everybody's so stressed out, Dr. Steve. How can you help them?
Well, same as relaxation. It's just the idea with stress relief is that they've probably gone a little bit further. They're a little bit more full of anxiety, so it's just a bit of a stronger attempt to calm them down and to teach also some techniques that can be used in everyday life. So the hypnosis program actually records, the recording programs you with some techniques that you can use in your waking life to continue to calm down in those otherwise stressful situations.
Do these help people? Like what I have found in today's society is people forget to breathe in the Western society. They get so tense and they hold their breath. So will by just listening to these at night, either one or both of them help them maybe so they don't have that knot in their solar plexus and they can breathe again?
Absolutely. I mean, if there is a medical condition, they should, of course, consult with a medical doctor. But these are designed for that, to help you calm down and let go of that stress, yes.
Oh, my niece needs this one because she gets real stressed out in those knots in her shoulders. She just could listen to this and go to sleep at night and not be all anxiety-stricken. Good. Well, I know I'm going to be buying this. Birthday present. Okay, so unlimited wealth. Yay. I believe everybody has unlimited wealth, but they're shutting themselves down from receiving it. So let's talk about this one.
Yeah, unlimited wealth is just the concept we were talking about earlier about opening yourself up to possibilities, opening your mind up to the idea that you are worthy of this. You should accept it. You are a wonderful person, and you're going to be able to use your wealth to help people. And so you open your mind up to possibilities. And the possibilities that have already been appearing in your life, you start taking advantage of those possibilities. You know, someone talks about a job lead or a place you can move or a project they're working on they may need help with, whereas in the past you may have thought, I don't know if that's for me. Now with the new programming, you're open to it, and you move forward, and you start taking action.
And if they're listening to the other ones, the relaxation and the stress, then they are focused and calm enough they can actually see the opportunities, because I think that's a big problem. People don't even stop to see the opportunities right in front of them. The door is just waiting for them to open it, and they walk right by it.
Absolutely.
Oh, Dr. Steve, my favorite with all us women in menopause, the weight loss that we just can't seem to do.
Yeah, my stepmom has struggled with this as well. She's, 66 now. And, the idea here is that you have the ability to take control of the physiological processes of your body. Your brain is in charge of them. So if you program your brain a certain way, then you have, in a sense, taken charge of that. And it is possible to reprogram yourself so that you lose weight. And part of it is the old standby is still true. You know, you take in fewer calories and you burn more. So, you know, eating less of the high-calorie stuff and exercising regularly, those things will never go out of fashion. Those are always going to be helpful. But there are also some reprogramming type techniques that are in here for your physiology to help you if you're having more of a challenge than just that.
You know what I see a lot of those shows, and where I can see where this would be fabulous, like let's say The Biggest Loser or one of those shows. So they get on there and they got somebody barking in their ear and bossing them around and making sure they're not cheating on their food, and they lose all this weight, and then they go home and what happens? They slide right back into their old habits. So actually, if they went through that course and then took your weight loss platinum recording, the chances of them being successful and not going back to being overweight would increase quite a bit. Wouldn't that be a simple solution?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember meeting Kim Lyons, who was a trainer on The Biggest Loser, in I believe it was Costa Rica about 3 years ago, and we were talking about that, the idea that, you know, you've got to have something ongoing. It can't just be a quick fix and then goodbye. So, yeah, things like this really, really help. Anything that reminds you of what you're supposed to be focusing on after the fact really goes a long way.
Yeah, because I mean, I just know for being a woman, and when you get older, like I was an athlete, I ran a 5-minute mile, and then you get older and you can't eat the same because when you're an athlete and you're young and your metabolism's burning like crazy, but you still like ice cream and you still like cheeseburgers, let's say. So, man, I feel like calling Biggest Loser for you because I think that everyone should have to buy your your CD so they stay successful. So
there
that's
you go.
wonderful.
I agree.
I knew you would. That's why you're named Doctor, because you're so intelligent.
There you go. I'm intelligent as shown by the fact that I agree with you.
You're smart because you know how to get along with women.
There you go.
Okay, so far I love all your CDs I can use, the Relax, the Stress, the Unlimited Wealth, and Weight Loss. Luckily, I'm not a person with low self-esteem, but let's talk about those that may be what's blocking them from moving forward, that they need to overcome low self-esteem. And once again, guys, we're not blaming you for anything. We just want you to be aware of that. You've been beat up enough in your life. So no stress, no negative energy here. We're all here to help. So let's talk about the people that are going to kick out the low self-esteem and be able to move forward with this particular recording.
Well, I think all of us have been programmed to some degree with some negative stuff throughout our lives. You know, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that, you're not good enough for this, that kind of thing. So those messages get weeded out or at least quieted down with a hypnosis recording on self-esteem so that the positive suggestions on the recording can take the place of that. The positive suggestions, of course, being that you are, you know, a wonderful person, you're beautiful and amazing and powerful and awesome, and that sort of concept.
It's kind of like self-love, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's been my biggest challenge is accepting compliments, which I found out, which I should know, but by not accepting compliments and kind of brushing them off, you stop the energy of that coming to you. So once I visualize that, I'm like, ooh. So that's why I love this, helping people with their low self-esteem, because you're not going to be successful if you don't believe in yourself, but just by changing this one thing could completely change a person's life, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. With confidence, you can do anything you want to do. Without it, it can be difficult to get out of bed in the morning because you don't know if the ground's going to be solid. So the spectrum of confidence is really important. You want to be on the higher end of it.
So we get rid of the low self-esteem, and now the next one that we could work hand in hand with and listen at the same time would be unlimited confidence. So let's talk about that one.
Well, it's just believing yourself, believing that what you're doing is going to work out, believing that you have a unique song to sing in the world, believing that you have a unique contribution. Everyone gets so caught up in trying to figure out who they can be like but really we want to see the uniqueness of each individual. Those are the people who become the superstars, the people who embrace their individuality, however quirky it may seem, or however odd it may seem, or however cutting edge it may seem. These are the people who make a difference in the world. So this recording is designed to pull you in that direction.
I love that, because I just experienced this like 2 weeks ago, and I call it freedom. When I stopped putting myself in a box on how I was supposed to try to model everybody else and what I should do, and I finally just one day said, I just need to be me. It was like the floodgates opened up, joint ventures opened up, opportunities opened up, business opened up. So I'm telling you, just one little thing like that can have a huge impact on your life. So I say quit trying to figure out what everyone else is telling you and just feel it in your body. What do you love to do? Start on that path would be my advice, because you're never working if you love what you're doing. Like, do you feel you're working right now talking to me? And you better say no. No. It's fun.
No, I absolutely enjoy everything I do. I mean, I work, even when I'm on vacation, I'm still working. I can do most of my business now on my cell phone, answer emails and get projects started and coordinate things. So I'm always working. There's never a time in my life where I take a vacation, because I don't have to. I'm always on vacation, and I'm always working, because my work is so much part of my play. So I really do enjoy what I do all the time.
And I'm exactly in alignment with you. It's like I'm always playing, and this is like really fun for me to get to interview you when I've used your products in the past, followed you for years. I've seen the results in family members I've given your gifts to, and that your personality is just really fun and you're so knowledgeable. I just am like so blessed that this is what I get to do for a living. But I just found out what I like to do. I like to ask questions, and I want to know everything.
Well, I like it. Interviewers are very important.
So you can be a telesummit host, okay, people? All
go.
right. So we are relaxed, and money's coming in, and our bodies are looking great, and we got rid of the low self-esteem, and I'm really confident right now. So what's the next step? Now I want unlimited motivation, because I don't want this to end. So can you tell me a little bit about that recording?
Yeah, unlimited motivation is all about just getting you to keep on keeping on. You've got to find a way to motivate yourself over time. Seminars are great. A lot of things are, books are great. We've got to find a way to make that sustainable. And the way it becomes sustainable is become something that you really enjoy doing. So motivation, in my opinion, the key to it is finding that thing that you love doing, finding your passion, and then you become it's just full speed ahead, like we were just talking about, you doing what you like and me doing what I like. Everyone's finding that or working toward that. Maybe they're stuck in a job right now that they don't really like, and they're working toward that freedom and that career that they do want. That can be motivating also. Motivating them to move toward it, and then once they're there, to maintain it. So it's got to come from within, and this recording teaches you how to do that by really tapping into what you want to do.
And that's what I love, because I think we make things so complicated, and to me it's so simple that you just listen to your body, or when you're doing something where time flies by and you would do it for free, that's your passion, and that's what you should be doing, and you will make money at it. But people go into that fear, and that's why they need to listen to these beautiful recordings that Dr. Steve put together, so that when you find what you love, your passion, now you can take off and go do that. But we still need to do one more thing. We need to have life balance. So you happen to have a recording on that too.
Absolutely. You've got to tie it all together. It's all got to make sense. It's got to, you've got your passion, but if you overdo it, you become a workaholic. So you've got to balance that with play. You've got to balance that with family life, with interacting with people just for no apparent reason, just because we're all human. So it's all got to be balanced out. And so this recording reminds you that, we're all on this planet together. We're all human. We all need to interact with each other. There are things you can do in your life that people tend to look at them like, okay, I'm working really hard on this project. If I go take a day off and just go play, then it takes away from it. Actually, studies show that time away from working on a challenge helps you get new insights into the challenge. So it teaches you concepts like that, just making everything balanced in your life so that you can continue moving forward. Again, this idea of sustainability. If you're just pushing, you burn out, and that's not sustainable. Having life balance makes things sustainable.
I love you say that because that is something I've implemented being an entrepreneur. I make sure to take breaks and just go outside because I love wildlife and flowers. And it's funny because I was just thinking about, I just love wildlife and flowers, so I'm so lucky to be an entrepreneur. And I call her Judy, the pet deer. I have a deer that plays with the neighborhood dog. She just came up and looked in the window at me while you were talking, and I'm like, kind of like that it's okay to enjoy life. I'm so much more productive and get so much more done when I take a little break or even a long break. I'm known to say, I don't have any recordings or commitments. I'm going to go to the lake, and we have a cabin that's 17 miles away. I go out there and float around on an air mattress and totally chill out and come home. And when I come home that night, I can accomplish in an hour, which would have taken me all day and probably would not have been as good.
Yeah, that exact concept.
Yeah.
I like it.
So Judy likes you. She came by in the recording. People find that amazing that I have a deer, and she plays with the neighborhood puppy, and I think she thinks she's a puppy because she'll even, kick a ball around. She's a yearling. So I'm not sure, but Judy says,
wow.
Hi, Dr. Steve.
Hello, Judy. I'm picturing some cartoon world that you're in right now.
I am in a cartoon world. I feel exactly like I'm in those little commercials with Bambi when I grew up as a child, the Disney commercials, because I'll be talking and I have this stuff happen all the time with wildlife. So, but that's what I dig, I manifest it, obviously, because I'm always talking about it, and I'm grateful when it happens.
Very nice.
So I want to thank you because this is a rockin' special offer that you put together, so thank you very much. We went through it in detail so you can see how every single one of these can benefit you in your life and that you can use more than one of these together at one time. Like the relaxation and the stress, to me, would go hand in hand. So, Dr. Steve, what words would you like to leave the super community that's listening to you today? Is there one word of advice you would like to give them, whether it's from a hypnosis standpoint or just from the standpoint of enjoying life while you're here instead of this working all the time and being stressed out and unhappy?
Well, I'm always reminded of the song by the musical group America, and they had a song about the Wizard of Oz. And since you're in this cartoon world, I'm reminded of this. And the song said, Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And so the takeaway from that is, here's the Wizard of Oz in the story giving physical representations of things that these characters already had. They just needed some sort of validation of it, some sort of proof of it. So that's really where hypnosis comes in. I'm not going to give you anything you don't already have, but sometimes you need a reminder of just how amazing, powerful, awesome, and beautiful you are, and that's where hypnosis comes in.
Now that song is going to be stuck in my head, so you're all going to get it stuck in yours because I'm going to sing that sentence so you get stuck too. Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. So now you guys get that stuck in your head, too.
I love it. I would have joined in, but I didn't want to ruin the song for you.
I love that because I can see that visualization in my head really, really clear on what you said. So, yeah, that's good. You guys already have it all. Don't beat yourself up over anything. And guess what? Go get the thank you gift that he has for you. Go check out the special offer he put together. I guarantee you that's going to be the best $97 you've spent in a long, long time. And it's not hard. Listen to it when you go to sleep. 21 days. Anyone can do that. You can do it. Do you want change? Take action. So thank you, Dr. Steve. I certainly hope to work with you again in the future. You're fun, you're knowledgeable, and you're passionate about what you do. So thanks so much for, getting this information out, especially to my community and everybody that's on the call listening. So thank you.
Oh, Brenni, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And once again, everybody, we appreciate you taking the time to listen to these interviews and take action. So we'll see you on the next call. Thanks, everybody.